Good afternoon. I'm Kimberly Howe, the Executive Director of Thrillerfest. Celebrating the release of a first novel is such a special moment, and I wish we were all together in New York City for our annual debut author breakfast. But since we can't make that happen this year, the next best thing is to bring these talented authors to you virtually. These newer writers have worked hard, often for many years, to reach this important pinnacle, and we will do our very best to support them on their journey ahead. And I'm sure that we're going to see many of them on the bestseller lists. I'm honored to introduce you to the debut class of 2020. Let's give them some extra ITW love and support by spreading the word about their books.
Hey everybody, I'm Don Bentley, author of Without Sanction, and this is my author introductory video. Now, I have to tell you, I'm very, very nervous about this because Lori Chandler wrote us an email and said, if you're not funny, don't try and be funny. But I don't know if I am funny. My wife thinks I'm funny. My dog thinks I'm funny. Does Lori Chandler think I'm funny? I just don't know. So I'll tell you about myself. I was an Apache pilot, a Army troop commander, an FBI special agent, and a SWAT team guy. Now, you might think that that makes me a very interesting person. It doesn't. It makes me a person who cannot decide on a career field. Thankfully, my amazing editor, Tom Colgan, gave me the chance to write a couple books. I appreciate that. Appreciate Kim Howe and everybody at Thrillerfest. When I came to Thrillerfest, I didn't have an agent, I didn't have a book deal, and now 6 years later, I have an amazing chance to write books. So thank you, Thrillerfest, and Lori Chandler. I hope this was funny.
Hi, I'm Heather Chavez, author of No Bad Deed, native Californian, former journalist, and mom of two. I've always known that I needed to write, but it wasn't until I was 11 and read my first Dean Koontz book, Whispers, that I realized that was what I wanted to write, stories that kept people up at night. So I wrote 3 practice books. I was about 20,000 words into my fourth when my daughter and I witnessed an attack at her school. 2 teen boys descended on a third. It ended abruptly before I could even really react, but I remember later thinking, what should I have done? Called 911? Gotten out of the car? And would I have behaved differently if my daughter hadn't been with me? That ultimately inspired the plot of No Bad Deed. Some other random facts. I wrote a poem that got me and my husband on Oprah, and I have a tattoo of my muse, which I named after the protagonist in one of those early practice books. So that's me.
Aloha everyone, my name is Tori Eldridge. I'm the debut author of The Ninja Daughter and the upcoming The Ninja's Blade out September 1st. I'm born and raised in Honolulu, and I love that I've written a book that is so close to my own heart and experience. My mother is Chinese Hawaiian, my father is Norwegian from North Dakota. I hold a 5th degree black belt in Toshindo Ninjutsu. I've lived in Los Angeles for over 35 years, and trust me when I tell you, I have Joy Luck Club family issues. So it was fun to incorporate all of this into a complex mystery and a fast-paced action thriller, because that's the kind of thing that I enjoy reading, and to be able to share my culture and my heritage at the same time, oh, what fun. So I hope you read The Ninja Daughter. I hope you love it, and mahalo.
Hello, my name is Eric J. Guignard, and this is my debut novel, Doorways to the Deadeye. I've been an anthologist, editor, and short story author, but this is my baby. What it's about is magical realism and the hope to find some form of endurance after death. So here's a quick synopsis. A Depression-era hobo rides the rails and learns the underlying hobo code is a mystical language that leads into the world of memories, where whoever is remembered strongest, whether by trickery, violence, or daring, can change history and alter the lives of the living. Because when a story is told, all who are part of it become a little stronger. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Chris Hauty, and I am the author of Deep State. It's a little bit different, and so am I. I just want to thank the folks at Thriller Fest for putting this virtual festival together and say that I'm looking forward to meeting all of you in person in 2021. So long.
Well, hey there, I'm Michael Huie. This is my book, Spitfire. It's a Livy Nash mystery. It's historical fiction, the first in a series. Livy is a former British spy in World War II. The book takes place in 1946. She's having a hard time adjusting to post-war life until she meets the notorious Ian Fleming. Now, as I said, this is historical fiction, so of course I did a lot of research. I read many nonfiction books, watched a lot of old movies, but my favorite research was with this guy, André Rocher. He's a French veteran of World War II. His wife was in the resistance in Bordeaux. He's 99 years old. And so whenever I had a question about post-war Paris, I just called André. André, say hello to everyone at the conference.
Very nice to meet you.
So I hope you guys have a great summer, read a lot of books, read Spitfire, and stay healthy.
Hi, I'm debut author Vanessa Lillie, and my debut thriller from Thomas and Mercer is Little Voices. So I'm just here to tell you a little bit about inspiration. So my debut novel came from me and a place as a new mom wanting to explore both the challenges, the darker side of being a new mom and having your life completely subsumed by a new creature. And so, as well as the joy. I mean, there's good stuff too. But for me, thrillers was the perfect place to explore new motherhood. And fortunately, other people agreed. And so after almost 13 years of trying to be a novelist, my debut was published. And I thought the best way to really explain Little Voices is to show you my inspiration. Hello, this is August. He is my 5-year-old son, and he was the inspiration and my muse for Little Voices.
Hi, I'm Leslie Lutz, the author of Fractured Tide, a young adult thriller. My influences for this book mostly came from scuba diving off the coast of Key Largo. There's a really gorgeous ship out there called the Spiegel Grove. It's 500 feet long, covered in coral, and I think anytime anybody first sees this thing, they're struck by how eerie it is, just materializing out of the deep like a ghost. So that inspired the USS Andrews, which is a set piece in the book. The other experience I had that influenced my writing was my time as a teacher. I was a volunteer teacher at a women's prison in Atlanta. And when I went in there with all these stereotypes in my head about what prisoners were like, I quickly found out none of them were right, that none of my stereotypes were right. I learned a lot about them from their writing, especially about the affection they had for their children. So when I wrote this book, Fractured Tide, I decided to write it as a letter from the main character to her incarcerated father, because I wanted to show a more positive relationship between prisoner and child.
Hello, my name is Nicole Mabry, and my debut novel, Past This Point, was released just months before coronavirus hit the United States. And it's about, you guessed it, a deadly flu outbreak. My novel about one woman and her dog fighting to survive during a quarantine that renders New York City a ghost town was inspired by an unprecedented transportation shutdown by Governor Cuomo in 2015 due to Winter Storm Juno. At the same time, a flu was making its way around my office, and I'm a slight hypochondriac, so if I get to work from home when people are sick, I'm excited. But that night, my brain did some kind of mind meld of the two things, the flu and the shutdown, and I had a very vivid dream that became the plot for Past This Point. It's been surreal living inside my book for the past few months, but at the same time, I've been using it as a survival guide, and it's been serving me well. Some of my friends have been saying that that dream was a premonition, and while I would love to think that I have clairvoyant abilities, I'm pretty sure it was just a coincidence. However, if I predict anything else, I'll be sure to let you know. Hope everyone's staying safe. Bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Elle Marr, and my debut thriller, The Missing Sister, came out this year, April 1st. I am a Francophile, Francophone, and Enophile. I spent 3 years in France, in Normandy, eating as many of their 300 plus cheeses as I could find. I also consumed a lot of wine, hence the Enophile part. When I moved home to the States, to California, I really wanted to return to Paris in my head, and much of The Missing Sister is a kind of love letter to my favorite city. I had 2 babies this year. One is my book baby, the other is my first child, so it has been a big year for me. Thank you to the organizers of Thriller Fest for taking this online. I hope to meet more of you in person next year, and thank you for having me.
Hi, I'm Drew Murry, the author of Broken Genius, a techno thriller about a genius former Silicon Valley tech CEO turned FBI agent. While not a genius, I'm like my protagonist Will Parker in 2 different ways. First, I'm into technology, and while I don't have my own startup, I did work in corporate IT for 20 years, but I've always been a gadget person. My niece and nephew once asked me, "Do you have one of everything from the Apple Store?" And while the answer is no, it's a little closer than I'd like to admit. For the past couple of months, because I've been teaching online at a local college, I've been working on building a video studio at home. And like Will Parker, I'm a big fan of science fiction and fantasy, and I've been to a lot of Comic-Cons where I met a ton of celebrities, all in the name of research. I'm sad that we're not gathering in New York for Thriller Fest this year, but it's important that everybody stays safe. I'm looking forward to seeing you and everybody else at Thriller Fest in 2021.
Hi, I'm Eliza, and I'm here in my home just outside Washington, D.C., and this is my debut novel, All That's Bright and Gone. It's a mystery about a 6-year-old girl who's the narrator, and she's trying to uncover a family secret, but all the adults in her family are hiding things from her, so it's sort of a doubly unreliable narrator because she doesn't always know what she's seeing, and also other people are trying to mislead her. And here's a special guest, my editor and co-writer.
Hi, I'm Al Pessin, journalist turned author, and my debut novel is Sandblast from Kensington. The inspiration came 10 years ago in the Pentagon courtyard when I came upon a citizenship ceremony for immigrants who were already serving in the U.S. military. I got to thinking, what unique capabilities could such people bring to today's wars? That led to Faraz Abdallah, a young army lieutenant of Afghan heritage who goes undercover inside the Taliban. Faraz leads us on a journey of tormented identity, impossibly demanding duty, and stunning valor, but also unintended consequences and ambiguous outcomes. Reviewers call Sandblast the next Homeland, a ripped-from-the-headlines story with a lot of humanity, and one of the most engaging espionage thrillers in years. I hope you'll have a look at Sandblast and tell me what you think via alpessin.com. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tracy S. Phillips, the author of Best Kept Secrets. I call myself a serial artist because at 3 years old, I started to play the piano. I went to Berklee College of Music for a degree in music production and engineering, and my claim to fame at that school was a paper I wrote in arranging class. My mother was an artist, and I also loved to draw. For years I painted, and eventually that love of color seeped into my eye for design and decorating. I've painted furniture, I made beaded jewelry, and at age 45 I began a blog called My Turn to Grow Up. I decided I had stories to tell. When my youngest was a junior in high school, I began to fantasize about vacations alone with my laptop. I finally put fingertips to keyboard. Best Kept Secrets was picked up by Crooked Lane Books with a Twitter pitch. But find me on Facebook. I'd love to chat. Stay safe, and thanks for listening.
Hello Thriller Fest! My name is Katherine Schellman. I'm the author of The Body in the Garden, a historical mystery that's full of scandal and secrets and murder. So, in spite of watching tons of Masterpiece Theater mysteries growing up and having a bookshelf full of thrillers and Agatha Christie, I had no idea that I was writing a mystery when I started working on this book. I had no idea what I was writing at all. I had two characters, one of them a grieving widow from England and the other an impulsive heiress from the West Indies who were just wandering around together in search of a plot. I had no idea what to do with them until one day I was writing and a dead body showed up. And I thought, oh, thank goodness, that's what's going on here. They have a mystery to solve. So from that point on, the rest of the book just fell into place. And from that point on, I also learned how important it is to outline everything. So thank you so much for letting The Body in the Garden be part of Thriller Fest this year. Congratulations to all my fellow debut authors. I look forward to meeting many of you in 2021.
My name is Tessa Wegert. It's a cloudy, rainy day here in coastal Connecticut, and that makes it the perfect time to talk about my debut mystery, which is called Death in the Family. Death in the Family is set in the Thousand Islands region of upstate New York during a nor'easter, and it follows a former NYPD detective named Shayna Merchant as she tries to figure out what happened to a man who's gone missing from his wealthy family's private island. I've been writing fiction for about 10 years, but I'm actually a journalist by trade. So when I decided to try my hand at writing a mystery and a thriller for the first time, I did a lot of research and I was lucky enough to connect with the sheriff of Jefferson County up in the Thousand Islands, who happened to be a former senior investigator herself. So she gave me a ton of information and I was so enthralled by her stories that I ended up basing a character on her. Lucky for me, she liked it. I'd just like to thank Thriller Fest for giving me the opportunity to talk about my book, and congratulations to all of this year's debut authors.
For me, life is about exploring. I love to rock climb and to hike and to windsurf. Partly it's about testing limits, but mainly it's about exploring new places and immersing yourself in those new worlds. Even as an electrical engineer, I have spent my career exploring one of the most powerful sources of energy on the Earth. That sense of exploration is extended into the Gatherers series, which is about a woman who invents a device that dips too deeply into the world's energy. She also compromises herself, and then she has to fix what she's done. So writing a book and writing a series is a process, and I want to thank ITW and Thriller Fest and all the amazing people who made it happen. I can't think of a better community to test and explore what it means to be an author. I will see you all in 2021.